Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, we had a bit of rain over the last, 12, 16 hours. I've lost track of time now. And it's still coming down, but definitely it's just kind of a light little rain now, but it's supposed to get quite a bit still today. Wanted to show you, see if I can get it's hard to do this in the backwards here, right about there where my finger's at. That's usually where I'm standing when I make a video in front of the creek. If you can see, it's up quite a bit. This is the little creek. I don't show that too much. It's up, oh my goodness, probably about 3 foot deep. It's usually never more than just 6-8 inches deep. So and then of course this here it's created a new river. A lot of rain and probably more to come, but it's that time of the year, so you deal with it. There's aside from all of this war talk that we talk about and the H5N1, maybe it's the new thing coming at us. I saw that I can't even remember what country it was. Somewhere there was a 25 or 3,500 seals. This is where it's starting to get weird. Seals died of not Navy seals, the kind that swim in the ocean, have died because of H5N1. So there was a case of H5N1 in China, a human case. So that's picking up. Maybe that's going to be the next one. Of course, the war, all of this great reset stuff happening. But there's also something that's going on that's not really being talked about a lot. A few people are, but not a lot. And that's food and just economy. And it's not looking so good. I think that some of this other stuff is definitely distracting people from it. And maybe that's another reason why they're pushing for some big war, because trying not to be too dramatic on this, and I really am. I'm trying to kind of hold back a little on this one, but if you're looking at all the numbers and you're looking at what a lot of the industry experts are saying, I mean, they're talking about like famine level food problems. Starting this year through next year, maybe for a few years. And I know we heard stuff kind of like that last year, and while it was rough, it wasn't, super famine level. But if you go back and you really look at what a lot of people were saying, it would kind of start really going last year, and then, by this year and next year, it was going to get pretty bad. And that seems to be where we're at right now. Just across the board with energy costs being high and shortages, especially in Europe, that's going to greatly affect the cost of food and food production. And just because maybe you're in the United States and you say, well, that's awful for them Europeans, it's going to affect us too, because as we've seen already throughout all of this, that the first place that the Europeans run to get back up is us. So we'll be sending things over there, whether we're selling it to them or giving it to them. And so as they struggle, it causes us to struggle. But here in the United States, we're struggling too. Fertilizer prices are high. There's all kinds of weather issues. Some of it's improved in certain areas. In other areas, it's gotten drastically worse. And then, just the economy stuff is affecting it all too. If you look at consumer debt, personal debt, it's the highest it's ever been. It's just crazy high. Most of your manufacturing and core inflation numbers are starting to go back up. The housing market is virtually in a free fall right now. It is in a, and I'm not the expert, so I'm not saying this from an official perspective. I'm saying this from how I see it. It looks like the housing market is definitely in a downward spiral, along with the auto industry market. New car market is awful looking. Not a lot of purchases, and so we're seeing all of this happen while most people just kind of aren't really paying much attention. And it's going to hit. It's going to hit hard. This month, SNAP benefits, which is, the food stamp benefits, are being cut back. They were increased due to the whole pandemic stuff, and so this month they're being cut back. I don't have exact numbers, but from what I was looking, the average household's going to see $100 to $200 less a month of SNAP benefits. And the food banks are saying that they're struggling already, that they've been struggling for a while now just to keep up enough food for food banks. So they're worried that with people getting less SNAP benefits, they may start to rely more on food banks, which already can't handle it. Like I said just a minute ago, fertilizer prices are looking pretty rough. We've got the lowest nationwide supply of hay that we've had in about 40, 50 years. All across the board when it comes to farming livestock, less cattle than we've had in 40, 50 years. Of course, you're all aware of the 60 plus million birds that's been killed and the exorbitantly high prices of eggs. We're seeing, on smaller scale, people just really kind of a buying frenzy when it comes to things like backyard chickens, because I think they see the handwriting on the wall. I've been receiving people, and we don't even sell them necessarily. We raise chickens and ducks, but we don't sell it as a business. Occasionally a few here if we hatch out extra. But I've had people, friends, and then strangers, maybe because of this YouTube channel, contact me and say, hey, would you sell us any? Because it's getting tough. A friend of mine went to a small animal auction not that long ago, and things like chickens were selling for 4 times what they normally would. So we're seeing it's like the beginning stages of really bad economic and food issues. And honestly, as bad as World War is, and it certainly is bad, and as bad as the potential for nuclear war, because there's so many people now talking about that, whether it be Russia and Ukraine, even a lot of nations in Europe are saying that maybe the only way for this war, this conflict with Russia to be fixed is through nuclear weapons. Of course, Iran is rapidly trying to build one, and North Korea and China, they have them, and they're threatening to use them also. So those are really bad things, obviously. We all know that. But global food crisis, that's pretty serious. We could easily see something on the level, if not worse than Arab Spring, but affecting a lot more countries, not just a few countries in the Middle East and Africa. We could see something like that affect a lot of countries. And even here in the United States, where we are the land of plenty, it doesn't necessarily mean that there would be, mass starvation level, food shortages, but we could certainly see prices just skyrocket and the availability go down. And so this is an area that we as preppers should really be paying attention to. And then, of course, you've got to factor in this big push for the digital currency that they've been talking about again for the last few days, and pushing for that. The Federal Reserve has indicated that they're ready for it. They're just waiting for Congress, for the president's approval. They said that they want their backing before they move forward with this, but it sounds like that they're ready for it, that they have all their ducks in the row. And so I can't see how the United States would not do this when every other country virtually on the planet is doing it. We're going to want to keep up on it. And even the Republicans aren't really, holding back on, or not wanting to do something like this. So there's a lot of factors going on here between the economy and between food problems. And there's a very real problem, possibility that's going to hit in the coming months. And we have to be prepared for that, which is why, constantly telling people to stock up on food and to grow food and produce food and preserve food, because the very real likelihood that we could see some level of famine across the world that would directly affect us here I think is a real possibility. We're still seeing countries and individuals reports of massive amounts of silver and gold being bought up, which indicates that there's a lot of people out there that see the handwriting on the wall, that there is a definite economic collapse coming, along with a collapse of food systems. It's just a building thing, folks. I mean, it doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take some expert to sit there and look at all the numbers and all the reports and start to put together that, yeah, things are really starting to slide downhill. The momentum is picking up. And, if we have another, pandemic, whether it's this H1N1 or something else, I can't even imagine how crippling that would be. Looking at what happened with the COVID and the fact that it in itself was not that serious. It was the reaction that was. And look what it did to the global economy. What would something that actually possibly is serious do to the global economy? That would be absolutely devastating. And we see all of these things lining up. It doesn't mean that they're all going to happen. Maybe some of them, maybe none, but the odds of none are pretty slim at this point because there's just so much. You've got to be getting yourself in a better place as much as possible. Getting out of debt, getting to a place where you're not tied down, with things and costs and expenses, so that you can, take some of your money and put it into places, secure it, whether it's investing it in the supplies that you need, investing it in paying off debts, investing it into solid currencies like gold and silver, whatever you need to be doing to get yourself, your family in a better position to ride out this storm. You need to be doing so because there is a storm coming. It's big and it's all around, and it's going to be hurting a lot of people, folks. Right now is the time to be getting your house in order. It's time to prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.